Right, hello everyone. I hope everybody is having a great Monday. It's Jordan from Cloud Underground here again today. I'm going to talk a little bit more about Docker and how you can set up some sandbox sort of environments to test your ideas so, that you can quickly and rapidly basically develop and innovate ideas to help build a business, since that's one of the primary things that we really try to focus on at Cloud Underground is helping you build your business and your future. So yeah, like I said, I hope everybody's having a great Monday. I just want to start by, well, let me first of all, I am looking at LinkedIn chat, so if anybody is on LinkedIn and has anything to say or has any questions, please feel free to chime in and, uh, you know, I'll do my best to answer those questions and comment on comments. And so, yeah, thank you for being here. Again, I'm with Cloud Underground, and one of the things that I wanted to talk about a little bit today is that we have recently started releasing a new product. Hold on. Sorry about this. So we'll talk about that a little bit later, though. But essentially today I really wanted to look at Docker a little bit more and play with some webtops that make it really easy to open up a sandbox in a Linux sandbox that you can quickly kind of test ideas out in and play with and break and do whatever you want with. So I guess with that, I'm going to kind of hop into it. Oh yeah, this is the other thing I wanted to talk about today is that we just launched this Prime Idea Factory. So if you are a business and you want to take advantage of some of the sorts of hardware and software and the resources that we use in our company, you can easily get involved in that or get something that will allow you to do that with this Prime Idea Factory. So I'd love for everybody to go check that out and kind of look through it, see what kind of catches your eye, what could be good for you, because we basically are trying to provide hardware that has all of the stuff on it to let you quickly and easily get into all of this sort of Linux and Docker container sort of things that we do that allow you to really quickly and easily build a business. So yeah, check that stuff out. And I guess with that, I'm going to kind of get into it. So again, today I wanted to hop back into Docker a little bit and play with these webtops, because these webtops are really cool and easy ways to start playing with Linux and just testing your ideas out. So you can see right now I've got our old friend PowerShell up here, and what I've got right here written is a Docker command. So it's a Docker run command, so we're basically going to start up a container here, and you can see we've got the ITD flag going, so that allows it to be persistent and for us to interact with it. I called it Webtop test, so it has a name here. We've got a couple of environmental variables listed, and we've got a port. Because normally I'd be running this in an underground nexus, I would like to not just go straight from port 3000 to 3000, because we typically have port 3000 tied up in the underground nexus, and I'd like this to be really easy for most people to be able to deploy in an underground nexus instance, because that's typically how we are doing it. So I'm using a different port today. I'm using port 650. Should be one that's basically open in the Docker stack. And then we've got a couple of other variables. We got a volume variable set, and we've got this set to restart unless stopped. And then the image that we're going to use is this Linux server image, and we're going to use the Webtop Ubuntu XFCE one. And if we go to Linux server, so this is Docker Hub, and it's Linux server's page for their webtops in Docker Hub. And if you look through it, it talks all about the webtops, and a lot of the underground nexus is using different versions of these webtops. So it's good to kind of be familiar with this stuff. It talks about the different architectures that are supported here, and then you can see the different Linux environments that we can easily spin up. And the one I'm using is Ubuntu XFCE, but you could use any of these. So all you have to do to try one of these instead of Ubuntu XFCE is just to replace this last bit of this command, Ubuntu XFCE, with whichever one, Alpine Mate, Arch XFCE, Debian, I don't, whatever it is you're trying to play with. They even have Fedora on here, so it's really easy to try a bunch of different kinds of flavors of Linux this way, which is one of the reasons I want to look at it. And we're going to go ahead and run this command now, and it should very quickly spin up an Ubuntu XFCE webtop that we can check out, and hopefully it doesn't totally tank the performance of the stream. Earlier when I did this, I was having a little bit of issues with just having too much stuff running on this computer at the same time, because I'm doing a lot of different things at one time right now on this, and it may slow down. So I just want to warn people about that. Let's see what happens. So I'm going to go ahead and run this Docker command. And because I kind of tested it earlier, oh yeah, very easy. It didn't even have to download anything. So normally this is going to be a download, approximately 1 to 2 gigabytes, I would say, of downloading that's required for this container to get running. So if you're on a slow internet connection, it's going to take it a while to get this downloaded. If you're on a really fast connection, then it'll only take, probably less than a minute. But anyway, so now we've got this running, and we can check out this webtop here. As soon as I refresh it, yeah, and here we go. So this is our XFCE webtop, and we can open up a terminal if we want to, and we can mess around in here and play with XFCE. This is Ubuntu, so we would be able to do an apt update easily and upgrade it. It's telling us we don't have permissions, so you'd have to do sudo apt update. Oops, and you got to actually type in the command correctly. There we go. And then it'll do an update anyway. And we can play with Ubuntu and XFCE really easily here. So it's a really nice, easy way to start spinning stuff up, and like the Terraria server that I often use and that we're going to use a little bit later, it's in one of these XFCE webtops. So you can, spin up servers in these and test them out and do all kinds of stuff. You will probably need to open more ports if you're going to use this webtop as a server. But yeah, anyway, we're not going to worry about that too much right now. So let's just exit that, and I'm going to go ahead and close out of here. And I'm actually going to go back, open our PowerShell, and I'm going to go ahead and stop that container. So we're going to do a Docker container stop, and then I will just highlight, this is the full container's name, and that should stop the container we were just playing with. There we go, and now we could try out a different one if we want. So let's say we want to see what the Mate version of Ubuntu looks like. We could do Ubuntu-Mate. So all we have to replace is the Mate bit, and this time it's actually going to have to download the container, but it shouldn't take too long, or the image, I should say, for this container. And we'll give it just a minute to download all of the stuff. Like I said, even with a fast internet connection, it can take, a minute to get going with this, but once this is finished downloading, it should pretty much deploy the container instantly. Oh, okay. And so the reason that it failed here is that this container Webtop test is already in use, so I didn't delete that last container. So let's do a docker, docker container prune, and that should get rid of, so let's now do a docker container ls-a, and it'll show us all the containers that we have currently. Maybe. Huh. I didn't like something that I did. What did it not like about this? Well, let's just do, we'll just do a docker container ls. Oh, I see. The problem is that I've got container spelled wrong here. So when you're working in command line interface, you really want to make sure that you don't spell anything wrong in your command. Okay, so we can see now we have no containers. Now we can go ahead and try that command again with the mate, and it should instantly get a container going. There we are. Oh, and I made a little boo-boo here. So let me, real quick, need to go to, oh goodness, goodness, goodness. So I shouldn't have I meant to not close that tab, but I made a boo-boo and I did. So now I've got to, real quick, remind myself what the IP address is that we need to go to. So bear with me for a moment while I fix my mistake. Okay, okay, I got it. So, sorry about that. Get the correct thing in here. Okay, here we go. Sorry about that. But now, there we go. Now it's opening up the container. It's often a little slow the first time that you run it. And like I said, I feel like I was kind of overwhelming this PC earlier, and hopefully it's not getting overwhelmed again. I think once it's running, it's going to be a lot happier. Kind of initializing it often takes a little bit of resources for it to get going. Here we go. And so here we have a Mate desktop. And you can see it's got the nice jellyfish. Mate, I think Ubuntu is still on Jammy Jellyfish for the LTS release, which is why we have that. But yeah, so this is Ubuntu Mate instead of Ubuntu XFCE. I guess we're still running Ubuntu though, so I mean, one of the other interesting things I could do is just run something besides Ubuntu. Like we could try Arch Mate desktop. Let's do that real quick. So let's get our PowerShell up here. We got to stop this container. So sudo. Oh, we don't need sudo. Well, I'm in Windows. Don't need sudo. So docker container stop, and we got the container name right here because it just started it. take it a moment to stop the container. And then we'll prune it again so that we can continue to use that same command with that same Webtop test name, because it doesn't like it when we try to create a new container with the same name as the old container. So we'll do that as soon as it's done with this. And I'll do a quick refresh in LinkedIn to make sure I'm not missing any comments while it's working on this. Come on, Docker. Maybe asking a little too much from this PC, trying to stream and have all these windows open and running Docker at the same time. This is not the PC I'm normally on, and it definitely does not have as much power as the PC I'm normally on, so sorry about that. I hope you can bear with me for a moment here. And if this video ends up having problems, I'll probably just, make it again, because it's a pretty interesting, fun topic to look at, so yeah, I don't know. I think things are working on LinkedIn, but I'm not 100% sure. Okay, so anyway, now we've stopped our container, and we could try, let's try, so these are all our XFCE. Let's try an Arch XFCE. XFCE is pretty low power desktop environment, so it should be a little easier to run that. So let's go ahead and do, well, we need to do a docker container prune command real quick. And yes, let's get rid of any containers that we're not using. That's all dandy. There we go. Okay, so now we shouldn't have any containers, so we should be free to use this command again. But instead of Ubuntu Mate, we're going to try